in a sense.
Hey, yeah, that's the umbrella. And building out this financial ecosystem is like super duper duper important. And there's so much going on with Guapcoin right now. Like, I can't wait to get into it. Definitely, 2021 is going to be the year for Guapcoin because we didn't even get into 2021. Like, literally, we're about a week away, and I've just been inundated with stuff. Different plans, etc., that we'll be fleshing out for the year. So it's like incredibly exciting. So started Guapcoin back in 2017 after my first startup, which was Safe to Meet. And Safe to Meet kind of started so many changes because it was a platform that I built. We got, patent, we had all types of support and stuff like that, but we didn't get, we just didn't get funded. We didn't get the money. And that's when I found out that, it was this common knowledge in the tech community that Black women don't get funded. We don't get, we don't get that money. And it was a little bit before Arlen Hamilton came out, and she was talking about, she came out with a fund called About Damn Time Fund. And that's when they started getting in to funding Black women for projects simply because we don't get funded. So it was like a big thing at the time. So in my mind, I was like, well, bump that because I'm a solutionary. I'm a solutionary. So I'm like, if we don't get funded, we could create our own fund. We can create our own money, and that's what partially led to Guapcoin. I had probably about maybe 20 years ago, I had delved into looking into alternative currencies because I was like, why are we doing this buy Black thing, but we don't have no money? You know what I mean? We don't have our own money. So, back then I was looking into how we could create our own alternative currency. And the only thing I had really to kind of go off of was things like the Liberty Dollar at the time and stuff like that. It was like 20, 25 years ago.
I remember that.
But yeah, you remember the Liberty Dollar?
And the Ithaca. Remember the Ithaca dollar?
Yeah. So I was heavy into that stuff because I was like, we need to be doing this, But of course, those dollars still at the time they were tied to, natural resources. The Liberty Dollar, I think it was like silver or whatever, but things that we didn't have, we don't have, we didn't have control over any of those things. So, I felt like if we don't have control over any type of, natural resources and stuff like that, why build something on top of something where you don't have control over? You know what I mean? So then crypto came into play, and I was like, well, this is perfect. You know what I mean? Because this is simply implementing a financial system that's built off the ether, so to speak. This is all based on what you can't see. What's not tangible, and the expression of the creative energy into the material world based off of something that's not tangible, which in our world, whether you're spiritual or not, is spiritual, right?
It's very spiritual. It's considered.
Yeah, so we looking at it like, okay, this is spiritual money. We're looking at it from a whole different perspective, So in 2017, I launched Guapcoin, and at the time we were on Ethereum, and I was a big Ethereum buff just for the fact that it was called Ethereum, Ether. At the time. And I was like, oh, okay, again, that was like this whole spiritual, physical manifestation of spiritual forces, but I never intended for us to stay on Ethereum because I wanted us to have our own blockchain. I wanted it to be ours. I didn't want to be caught up in the ecosystem yet again on something based on something else. So in 2018, we began to build our own blockchain. We had about 2 or 3 different iterations of that. And it was the whole of 2018 really where I was learning everything in and out about the blockchain. From working on it, working with other individuals, them teaching me. Because yes, I was a developer, all of that, but don't let anybody fool you. This is a totally new space. There wasn't too many people out there who even knew how to build a blockchain themselves, or even knew the process that you would take it through. So nobody was an expert at the time. So in 2018, I'm building this blockchain, and I'm learning everything from the ground floor all the way up to, where it let me. So we released that first version, which was a proof of work at the time, mining, and it was a masternode coin. And the reason why I went with masternodes is because I was trying to figure out a way where if we do this blockchain, we have to maintain some type of equity in it. If we're talking about the mission is to impact Black and brown people,
right?
If you launch a blockchain, you really can't control it, so to speak. It's decentralized totally. So I think that masternodes add a slight bit of centralization to it, but so that you can maintain the mission. And that came on the heels of a meeting and a discussion I had with someone else who's very important in the blockchain industry, who suggested that be the route that we go. However, at the time, that also came with a price tag, like, we'll help you to implement this, but it's going to cost you X, Y, Z. And at the time, we didn't really raise much money. So, I'm looking at this like, nah, we can't do that. We're going to have to do it ourselves. So I delved into building that first proof of work chain. And originally, I wanted to go with proof of stake and staking because, proof of work, again, is going to rely heavily on resources that we don't own, and that is the power, power resources. Plus, it's not a very green way of approaching it. So I was like, we need to be doing staking and not mining. But there was some individuals, there was some other, there was some brothers who was into crypto at the time, and they was mining and stuff, and they was like, yeah, if you do it, we'll support you. So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to do the mining for the brothers, right?
Okay.
But inevitably, when I launched Proof of Work, did they support us? No. So we planned for another launch of the blockchain, and we was going to go proof of stake, and we did. So in about, I think it's about 2019, early 2019, we had our first stable version. It was a stable version of blockchain. Everything was going well. It was proof of stake, and ever since then, that's what we've been running. But it was between 2018 and 2019. I traveled the world, becoming a crypto expert in the world, speaking everywhere from Germany to the Caribbean to the continent and everywhere. I'm really carving my self into this space. And I knew I would have to. I knew I would have to have the legitimacy of some, external whatever, in order to be able to come to my folks with this, because honestly, I just kind of felt like the biggest issue, the biggest penetration was going to be amongst us. And I was correct about that. Totally correct about that. For so many different reasons. And of course, another reason is because I'm a woman, so I have to become a mega expert in this.
Right.
I had to push myself to, build up such a credibility and a reputation because of, who I would be up against. At the time, too, there's a lot of people jumping into the field, calling themselves experts, and that's a problem with tech and Black tech. We don't support Black tech. We don't support Black tech founders. And then, we have personalities that come into the space and call themselves, they come into the lane and they kind of take over the lane and they push founders out of the lane. It's a frustration that we go through a lot. A lot of us who are in the tech space and we're founders, we're very Uranian, so it's like, we spend a lot of time behind the computers, behind the scenes, building this, building that. So pushing us out of our comfort zone, getting in front of the screen, getting in front of people, and then, feeling like, damn, I built this thing, but I got to go up against people who don't know how to build these things, right. But they build a cult of personality that outshines the work that we do. And that's actually something that I even faced with the Akon scenario, Akon stuff, because at the time I launched, and then maybe about a couple of months later, Akon came out with his campaign, but he hadn't even launched a coin yet. So we had people approaching us I had people approaching me talking about, why don't you work with Akon? I'm like, why doesn't Akon work with me? I built the thing already. Right. So, even at the Tech Connect, which was a Black Enterprise conference during the time, was a pretty big one. That's actually where I met him, and all of the technologists was there, and we spoke, and we got up, and it was like, at the time he didn't really know a lot about blockchain, so we got up and questioned him. It was like, we got these projects out here, and we could use some help in terms of just getting the word out to the people, right? And he wasn't interested. His team at the time was all Caucasian, and that it was kind of not pretty. So we felt like we went through setbacks like that. So I felt like with our community, I built this for our community, but I can't get to our community with all of these guards coming up in our community to even tell the community about it, but the world had open arms to me. You know what I mean? I go places and they'd be like, I wish they were like, we love Guapcoin and we want to have something like this, or we want to have Guapcoin, and no problem. But it was very hard penetrating the very community that I created this for. Right. So you learn so many different lessons in this. It was a whole long spiritual lesson, physical lesson, and like everything you learn, you get to come face to face with what really ails our community. You know what I mean? And
what would you say that is
on a higher level? Why we haven't achieved certain things. That there's guards and there's doors that are blocked. And then not only are they blocked from the outside, but we maintain the block on the inside from letting people out, like letting people out the barrel, or I like to say letting people off the plantation. The whole, I just kind of felt like I've become like the Harriet Tubman of the financial world, trying to say, hey, let's break off the plantation. Because even talking about, at first they thought I was crazy. Like, why would you want to create a blockchain for Black people? Like, literally, I had this kind of thought from Black people, Right. And they like, why would you want to do such a thing? And I was so far ahead because now in 2020, at the end of 2019, it's all of a sudden cool. Everybody wants to do things for Black people now, right? Because Black folks, Black is in. You know what I mean?
It's a new
trend. But back in 2017, I kind of foresaw this with us coming in this direction, and we would need some type of foundation to build off of it, and it's always got to build off that economic foundation. Everything grows from that.
Right. Real quick, there are people in the audience that have been raising their hands. I believe they want to participate in the conversation, and I'm gonna let them know. And as we move along, we will open up for brothers and sisters to come on the stage and ask questions. Shout out to my bro Slice in the building. Shout out to my bro Jay in the building. How y'all doing tonight for that matter?
Man, I'm doing great, man.
Indeed.
Just here, man, just soaking up this info, man, listening in.
Right.
Definitely commend what you're doing. So.
All right. Definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, so you know, it again is a journey, and inside and out. Just I just saw so much stuff, but I was like, this is the reason why we have to do this. We have to break this spell.
Right.
You know what I mean? That is preventing us from doing for ourselves and building on this type of level, because money is the link to everywhere. That's why blockchain is, you know, like this thing is so powerful and crypto is so powerful, because money is the link. You know, literally, you can with blockchain. Blockchain is cross border. Like there's no borders that stop you from reaching out to your people all over the world. So, you know, imagine the power. Imagine being able to recapture our social currency that's used by everybody else, that's leveraged by everybody else.
Right.
And being able to capture that, because it's more than just the currency, it's also the data, you know. So I remember back in, I think, the end of 2018, I spoke at a conference in St. Kitts. And, you know, there were a lot of blockchain leaders there. Roger Ver from Bitcoin Cash, stuff like that. They all spoke. And he spoke some poignant stuff. Roger Ver, he was on it. But one of the big points that came out of it was the fact that when it comes to data, you know, there's a literal hole in known data that is supposed to represent Black people, but it doesn't represent. We're not represented because we don't. I guess you could say we don't own that hole. We don't own that space, which we should.
Right.
Because if you don't take ownership of something, somebody's going to take ownership of it, right?
Rightfully so.
And this is a space that if we did take ownership of it, then, you know, data is also currency, you know, so we kind of leaving money on the table as well.
Right.
But they admitted it, you know, there, that there's a lot that just can't be done because, you know, again, we don't really have ownership of that space. And they pointed directly to Black people with that. So here we are. We have the potential to take ownership of our data, build a currency, grow a currency based off of our data, and dictate. You know how we can control it, and the way that we control it, and proof of that we can control it is to look at a platform like Twitter, and you have Black Twitter, right?
Right.
You have Black Twitter come together and literally control something. You know, that's data driven and data aware.
Data aware, right.
Right. So that's literally supposed to be the proof of how we can take control of our data and dictate what is done with it, where it goes, and how it benefits us. So that's also tied to, you know, having our own platform, etc. So there's so many different things, and it starts here. And but being able to again penetrate us and actually get this information out has been a struggle. There's always something else that gets put out there to capture our attention.
Right.
You know, like everybody's been talking about XRP lately. And a lot of people who follow me know that, you know, I've basically asserted that XRP is one of those things that's out there to capture our attention away from what we could be doing for ourselves. You know, so you literally have so many of us that are beating the ground that, you know, we were beating a drum for XRP. Like that's the first piece of knowledge of crypto that a lot of our folks are being exposed to. Right. You know, and again, it's another piece of manipulation, you know, and then someone else can profit off of it tremendously.
Well, for the record, I dumped my Ripple today, so it's interesting that you brought that up.
Very, very good.
I just had enough.
Let me tell you, a lot of people don't know, even on the spiritual side, I saw what was going on. I saw that XRP was just another obstacle that, we would have to face with Guapcoin. Because things, I'm telling you, once something gets our attention, we divert all of our energy and power towards that thing
and build it up.
And I literally prayed that obstacle would be removed. Wow. That's what I mean. Just to be totally honest, I prayed. Right. I was like, look, there's something that have to be done about that, because we're not going to be able to do nothing if everybody is if our white is right activation kicks in, you know what I mean? And we go running for something that we think is going to bring us wealth and freedom and all that other stuff that's not for and by us.
Just for the record, I just want to ask, is it true that big data surpassed big oil as, in terms of profitability?
Well, data has been profitable for a long time. I mean, data, once you start, see, there's different classifications of data, right?
Right.
So we're now into the classification that is innumerable. Like you can't even put a number.
Can't put a number to. Right.
In terms of that, and once you start getting into those spaces like that, like where you can't even quantify data, that is so huge, and it becomes just all consumptive. Man, it becomes a whole new what do you say? I'm trying to think of the word for it. Almost there. I'm sorry, it's late.
It's okay.
But once it crosses that threshold, which is already crossed that threshold, then you create it, and it's perfect for coming into this next 800 years cycle, that began on the conjunction in Aquarius the other day. You know what I mean? And Aquarius, kind of liberates you from that what do you call it? Iron Age philosophy. Right. You know what I mean? Where you're talking about precious metals and things that are coming out of the earth, and now things are coming out of the air. It's like, and it's interesting that, Bitcoin and crypto came in using a algorithm that used mining, right? Just the word mining, like as though it's something that you're mining from the earth or something you're taking from the earth, but it's not, but it used that terminology.
Exactly, that lexicon.
So we're shifting from heavy metals, a heavy metal cycle, into a light cycle,
cloud-based,
and that's just on the spiritual side,
right?
Because these currencies are not quote unquote, they're supposedly not backed by anything, but that's not true. They're backed by energy. They're backed by light. That's what they're backed by. For people often ask me, well, what is Bitcoin backed by? What is this backed by? And I tell them it's backed by energy. It's backed by light. It relies on energy to function in some level. Even the proof of stake, like Guapcoin, relies on energy.
Right.
So it does have a backing. It does, and it's showing you the value and how valuable energy is, and how valuable the unseen world is. There's a whole spiritual aspect to it. I mean, I've had nothing but a spiritual experience with Guapcoin. Literally working on a chain, seeing how when the emotional current of people was one way, and how it would impact the chain itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Literally having to talk people down off the ledge, and getting them back into their right mind, and then everything going okay with the chain. Like people really, really, really in the inner side, they, that have been with me from the beginning, they know this, they know our philosophy, that's my philosophy. So when they're going through stuff, I'm literally turning on my life coach hat and calling, the governors and talking to them, getting them calmed down and stuff like that. Because when I'm working on the chain and I'm working on the actual tech, I feel all of the energy. Like I get inundated with the energy, and I can't work. And then things break.
It can be overwhelming.
In response. So I'm like, okay, let me make some phone calls.
Right.
So I'm calling the people who are connected and, literally having these just, coaching sessions to get them back, grounded, and then going back to my work, and everything is okay. The chain is working. There's no problem. Wallets are working, money is flowing. So, I learned a lot about the energetic side of tech and the energetic side of money doing this. And it's probably something I'm definitely going to talk more about later on, but this is it is an energy thing. And this thing has almost like the consciousness, like of a entity, like it lives, you know what I mean? And because of that, and because of learning that and understanding that, that's part of what gave me the faith and the confidence to keep and continuing what I'm doing.
Right. Are you familiar with egregores?
No.
Okay. Those are considered to be thought forms in the
okay.
Yeah. Like, consider what is known as corporate culture.
Mm-hmm.
Well, corporate culture is considered to be an egregore. Hip hop culture is an egregore. The video that Erykah Badu did years ago when she was naked and she reenacted the JFK scene, and then at the end of it, it's something that said groupthink.
Yes.
Yeah, well, groupthink is translated as egregores. When there's groupthink, it actually is a life form. It forms a life form, an energy source, which is known. The lexicon term of it is known as egregore. I want to shift gears real quick and just pose a few questions. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we see in our spaces, different spaces, but for those of us who are on the internet, especially on Instagram, over the past few years, we've seen a rise in, melanated coaches, different groups, brothers get into the bag and sisters. You have the rise in the CBD products through NutriBurst, the MLM platforms. There's just a lot of people out here that are, exceeding the monetary limits that certain people have placed on them over the years. It seems like there's been breakthroughs, right? My question to you would be, just seeing the way that these other startups are being funded and most of the other coins are being funded. And by you traveling around and knowing the type of funding that's going to be needed to both build the social media platforms and also the cryptocurrencies, my question to you would be, is there a concerted effort to begin to do pitches or, to approach these potential investors and to see if any one of them are interested in either equity or, being angel investors, lean investors, or anything of that nature?
Well, I come to the conclusion that where we are in terms of, or the road that we've taken, etc., is the road that we needed to take. Because when you get into the realm of VC, that type of investment, then you start getting into ownership issues. And you start getting into, it can disrupt the organic growth of a community like ours. We have a very sensitive situation, you know what I mean, in terms of we're different from other people when it comes to putting something out like this. We have different needs, and different things that need to be addressed. And I often tell people that because there'll be a plan and it'll be like, well, why don't you do this way? And I said, it's a whole total different situation when it comes to our folks, why we can't do it that way. You know what I mean? And I think that building value organically is something that a currency needs. You know what I mean? You don't invest money of another source into a currency, because that's the same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin didn't start like that. It didn't grow like that.
Right.
It had an organic growth in which value was birthed into this thing. You know what I mean? So I saw how over the years we had to birth value into this thing. This has to have value that's birthed into it, not value taken from the dollar and Silicon Valley or anything like that. It literally had to have we had to come into this space of where this thing has value for us. You know what I mean? That we built. And it's funny because over the last couple of days, what a lot of people don't know is I think during certain times, I've spoken, I said that I was going to one day give away 90% of my wealth, right? Well, we're kind of at the point in Block Point where I'm not a major holder. Wisdom has been waiting for you to call since 11 o'clock. I'm like, what you may consider a minor. She told her that she was going to call her 11 o'clock. I'm like super proud about that. I'm not there anymore. My daughter is in my mom, so she's supposed to be sleeping in her. I don't know about what time she goes to bed, but she's waiting for you to call. So you like an hour or some change. You know what I mean?
All right. So who am I calling? Your mother?
Yes, and I hope that she's still up.
I didn't know that. All right. I didn't know. All right.
Well, do what you say you're gonna do.
All right. I got you.
You know what I mean? And I kind of look at it like a consciousness is like, okay, you got to break it. It has to have value. You have to be able to value it for this to be money, for this to function as money. So, and it doesn't have to be everybody all at once.
Right.
Key people initially have to value it that way, because we're going to turn around and we're going to pass that value to other people. It's basically like you can't sell something you don't believe in. And in this case, the belief is the value. You know what I mean? So when it comes to Guapcoin and those types of things, like, just external investors and big investors, we haven't had any of that. But what we have is we birthed something that we value from the inside out. And then we'll be able to take that value and transfer it into other areas, other projects, and become investors ourselves in other projects. I'm going to pull somebody up. He's actually one of our governors. I wanted to pull him up here. I can't. But yeah, because we have one of our governors down there. He's been with us.
Okay, have him raise his hand. I'll pull him in.
It says get low.
I got you. Here he goes.
Yeah. So we built the foundation to have value so that we can invest in further projects in the future. Like currently, right now, I'm in talks working with Liberia and doing some investing over there and setting up micro lending and stuff like that. And we become investors. Like we're at the point now. Okay, it's time to take it to the next level and invest and become the bank, become the lenders, become all of that, to delve heavily into the decentralized finance space, and start using this currency in that way.
Right. All right, how you doing, brother? Get low.
I'm doing very well. Thanks for bringing me in, Queen. Deeply appreciated. I've been always supporting you and telling you, just let me know when you need me. I want to piggyback off just some of the stuff that you're saying and not leave you, hanging. Not to mention the fact, I want to express to everybody what it means to have someone who knows the tech of what we are literally facing as our own personal takeovers. If you could make yourself, and there's plenty of Black souls on this clubhouse meeting right now. There's plenty of people to fully understand. Think of yourself at that very moment if you were a slave. Think of yourself at that very moment when you bumped into the legend herself who said, look, I know where freedom is. I know exactly where to go get it from. I've been there 2 or 3 times, and I definitely know this is the way to go. Can you believe that there were still people who did not go with this woman and take their lives into their own hands, even though their lives was not in their own hands anymore? That is wholeheartedly what GuapCoin is for you literally right now. And I came in and I wanted to come in to open up so many different business models that are open to people. If they just accept the fact of how powerful they are at that very moment that someone said you're powerful. Let me explain to you how. First of all, for all of the people who have any form of business whatsoever that you want to accomplish. I don't care if it's music. I don't care if it's a service. I don't care if it's a product. All of the above, you need to understand that some of the reason why you can't achieve your goals is because you are choosing to deal with United States dollars, government dollars, and you're put on to the same bars and restrictions that everyone else has. Not to mention the fact you're an African American or a Black person trying to do what they've already closed you off from. See, freedom was already given to others. It just wasn't given to us. So it was something that you had to believe that you could go get yourself if you had the opportunity. And this is that opportunity. When you open up a business in any cryptocurrency space, and we're going to get back to where she was talking about, she spoke about the fact that we don't get the identity for the stuff that we do. And this is what I mean. We spend plenty as consumers, and I don't want to down any Black person who feels the right and feels the urge to spend money on themselves. You probably worked really hard to do so. So don't feel bad about being a spender. Black people are looked at as bad because we spend. It's not the fact that we spend. Yes, everybody can spend their money in whatever direction, but you pay taxes on every single purchase that you make, brothers and sisters. Every single purchase. And if I don't come in clear, please let me know. But you make purchases and you spend taxes on every single purchase that you make, but they give no credit to the fact that you're probably the majority of the taxes that is paid for the Jordans, for the shirts, for the music, for the streaming, for everything that's cultural. We leave it, but we don't get any of those fundings inside of our neighborhoods, inside of the school books that our children read, inside of the education that's offered to us as extracurricular or further advancement. We get the least of that, and we spend the most. How is that possible? It's because we choose to do business under the same dollars and the same hands that enslaved us and set us back in general. So when tax time comes around, no matter what you get at tax time, that's not the money that is given to the neighborhood. That's just given to our petty selves for us to do petty things with if we choose to do so. But the real money goes into the private sectors of the world that we never get our fingers into. We never get our hands up upon, and it's never brought into our communities. We get cut short. So if you get cut out of that financial identity, of course it looks like you're frivolously spending because you're not even a part of the tax bracket and setup. You're not a part of any of the things that make us grow. But what if you just chose to do your business, do your service, offer your products a different way? The same way that Bitcoin did, all they did was choose to do something different. And it worked. It wasn't for you, meaning the Black person, Black woman, Black man. It wasn't for you because nobody was telling us, and there was no one Key point, who knew the tech about it at all. Hint, hint, that's why we have a sister like Tavanya, who literally dug deep and did the work. Like she said, there's plenty of celebs who find white is right, and I'm just calling it how I see it, and I've seen it. They call white is right, and then they go with that, and then they put their black face up there, and they own nothing. So that's why T.I. can get caught in a scandal, because he knew nothing. Okay? That's why somebody else is that's why Akon's coin has not went anywhere, because he doesn't know anything about the lane that he's jumping in. He's just a face for the same man that's been around. You see what I'm saying? So you're literally on a clubhouse meeting listening to the actual inventor, the founder, the person who did the real work, who just happens to be a black woman. Thank God. But if y'all really dig deep, you'll start seeing that if we always choose to just choose us, look at the growth. The reason why Bitcoin is big, and if everyone wants to know why it's so expensive, is because every time someone chooses to do business in Bitcoin, that means business as far as banking. They say, you know what, I'm going to save my money in Bitcoin. Imagine if you were told to save your money in Bitcoin, and you were told that all these cryptocurrencies are decentralized banks. They're not owned by nobody. Decentralized means that you just choose to bank that way. You choose to do your finances that way. What happens when all the black people that were already doing all this spending chooses to find another version of money to use for, maybe they're selling custom shoes? If I can buy custom shoes using Guap coin, why do I need United States dollars? And if I can use my Guap coin to go to the restaurant, and if y'all don't know, there's a black-owned restaurant that is in, help me out, Tavanya, what location? I know it's in California. Not Myrtle Beach. Martha's Vineyard.
Martha's Vineyard. We have a restaurant that accepts Guap coin in Martha's Vineyard.
In Martha's Vineyard.
It was the first restaurant that accepts Guap coin.
So if I can get a brother to sell me custom shoes, and I can pay for it in Guap coin, and then I can turn around and go to Martha's Vineyard and enjoy a good meal and enjoy a nice bar, and I can turn around and get my website built spending with Guap coin. Why do I have to expose all of my personal information, not to mention put money into systems, meaning that you can find somebody else to make you a website. But if they make you a website, that didn't help your black community at all. But you using this other form of currency, it put money inside your black community. It put the black community at the helm of its decision making, meaning that I'm in Guap coin because eventually there's going to be a hospital that's going to need to be built, that's going to have the need for black doctors who understand everything from black skin to black men to black women all the way down. Where are those hospitals at? Oh, the tax money that we never get a piece of, it went into another hospital. You see? So with that being said, we all want to make our focus on, it's not just about getting this, watching it grow, and go spending United States dollars. No, it's getting this, realizing you have a business model, realizing you have a life that means that you want to be accumulating real interest. We're collecting real interest and real money in the midst of owning Guap coin. Not to mention other business models. It's a long list of openness from conception to now into the future.
Hey, I wanted to say something. I spoke about social currency, right? And I think he was kind of hitting a little bit to that in terms of social currency, right? Which we are tremendously wealthy in, right? And this is another air currency. This is another thing that exists in the ethers. We haven't actualized it yet. Because when you have 1 million followers on Instagram, that's your social currency, right? But you may not have actualized it yet. So you go to a platform, another platform like i.e. OnlyFans or something like that, and you start trading your social currency for their currency. You know what I mean? Which is literally like earning their dollars, trading your social currency for their currency. Or in the case of many of us, giving away your social currency for their currency. Maybe devaluing yourself for their currency. You know what I mean? And not valuing your social currency. Because the true value of your social currency is the ability for it to be able to transform your personal environment, your community, etc. That's going to be the real value of your social currency. That's going to be the real strength, because that's the thing that you can pass down to generations, etc. You know, so this idea of our worth and where we are, because that's the thing. That's the biggest job that Guap has, is just convincing others, convincing ourselves of our worth, and that, and taking, and then understanding that everybody else has monetized our worth already. They're trading our worth in a secret, exchange somewhere. You know what I mean? And they're purchasing it, and they're utilizing it, and they're earning they're earning interest on it. And the interest that they earn on our work is even more than we manifested on this plane. You know what I mean? So that's what we're dealing with here, and that's what we have attempted to do, is to just recapture or capture the work that we have for ourselves. And and I think that's a lot of what he was talking about earlier too. I know you wanted to say something, Red, but
yeah, I mean that's a major part of it. I mean, accepting the fact that every single lane, the Jewish community, and you've made this point before, the Jewish community, the money inside of their community stays in for 21 days. That means that when the first dollar comes in, or the first $100 comes in, it goes to the neighborhood grocery store. It goes to the neighborhood dry cleaner. It might go to the neighborhood candy store from the kids. It goes all the way through that community so many times, because everybody's willing to just literally spend with each other. It might sound crazy, but I'm asking my brothers and sisters to find me places to spend my guap coin and use my guap coin, because I'm already accumulating it. You can already accumulate it. You can already transfer it for other currencies if need be. But your savings account, your Black-owned bank that doesn't have to report, its whole existence to the world, it's out there. It's called Guap Coin. It's fully functional. It has support. It's not a white is right and a black face at the front. It's really, really all black. But it's a choice. It's a simple choice if you wholeheartedly accept the fact that Harriet Tubman is in front of you and she just said, "Follow me." That's all. And she gonna do the same thing on repeat. It's funny, Harriet Tubman could have easily, meaning that Tavania could have easily saw what Bitcoin was and just jumped on when it fell. And when it fell, it didn't fall because it was crashing. People talk about that. Don't think that crypto crashes. Crypto doesn't crash. People reinvest, or they make a withdrawal, because in the case of Bitcoin, it has places to spend, but not like an ecosystem like what us as Black people can create. There's so much of an ecosystem that is left to be built even now, and the door is just open. There's no body that you have to ask. You don't have to ask Tavania permission to create Guap Coin merchandise, or Guap Coin accessible services or something.
Yeah, that's key. We've been teaching decentralization to our folks, which that's yet another lesson. That I said, a spiritual lesson, is that we feel like we need permission. We have to have permission in order to do just your basic, and the things that you have a right to do and a right to be. And decentralization is disrupting that power structure that makes you feel like, in order to be a creation, to create, that you need permission, or that you need whatever to be created. So with decentralization and with Blockcoin, this is yours. It's not mine. I'm the founder. You know what I mean? And I beat that in so many times. Like, everywhere I go, like, oh, she has her own coin. No, I don't have my own coin. We have our own coin. I'm the founder, you know what I mean? And honestly, I'm at the point where I want to be able to dip into some other stuff like Satoshi Nakamoto, you know what I mean? And you know, everybody else do their thing with it, but it's not that kind of party. It's like whatever you want to do, you can give yourself permission to do. You don't have to ask us unless you come into me because you want me to advise you and help you from a tech perspective.
Right.
Then that's my duty to do. But otherwise, I'm encouraging people to do stuff. We have people that step up all the time. They're like, "Have you done X, Y, Z? Are you going to do X, Y, Z?" I'm like, "Are you going to do X, Y, Z?" You brought the question up. You know what I mean? So that tells me that you see a need that needs to be filled, so you can fill it. You can step in and do that.
I think there's a big major please explain to the world if you're hearing this, please hear the most important part. No one owns Guap Coin. Someone blessed us to create it. That's the most important part you need to know. It's been created. It's real. It's functioning. You can find it. It's legit. But no one owns it. And what does that mean? That means anyone can use it for whatever purpose that their mind can create. You can't create certain businesses. You can't create certain businesses because United States dollars hold you to certain regulations. You can create anything with cryptocurrency. You just have to say, that's the currency I'm going to use, and that's the currency that I'm going to accept, and let it be. The same thing for Bitcoin. She's a founder. Founder does not mean owner. Founder does not mean boss. Founder does not mean multi-level marketing. Trust me, with the moment I fully understood the words, I don't own this. I heard this directly from Tavania on a one-on-one phone call. Once you understand that she's not an owner, there's no such thing as owning in cryptocurrency. There's vision and doing it. And I'm going to explain it to you. Masternodes are a free enterprise. Okay, it is the way you collect interest in Guap Coin, and you're constantly and repeatedly going to be collecting Guap Coin if you have a master node. There are 3-4 different ways to get a master node and collect Guap Coin. You can choose all 4. You can choose one, and who knows, you might even find plenty of ways to creatively create ways to get yourself to owning a master node. My point in saying that, she still doesn't own it, doesn't claim to own it, gives nothing more than the guiding light to make it happen. It's your own entity completely.
Absolutely. If anything, I'm a servant. So that's why I said I can't wait till I'm released from my karmic contract. And I'm able to do some of the things other things that I want to do, because we did mention, I'm in VR. I'm currently working on a VR platform, extension of my social network. I built a social network as well, and that's what I love. I love things like that.
Could we talk about that real quick? I have a brother with me, my brother Slice. He's out of Atlanta. He's doing big things in the VR space. We've been having these conversations at the last Red Talks, and I've also had it on YouTube based off of the new Instagram policies, and a lot of people reacting to that. And I brought up the fact that we are definitely in need of our own social media platform that is owned by us. One that's preferably sticky, because that's that's what's needed. Something that's going to keep us stuck to it. And I also was questioning, where are the hackathons? Where are the hackathons? Where are the events where there are incentives attached, sort of like Shark Tanks, to bring our brothers and sisters out to, kind of give them a reward, for their skill sets and whatnot. So I definitely want to touch on the social media platform that you built out, and just briefly get into that for the family that may not be aware of it. And I also want to know I also want you to speak on the challenges that may have arrived or arisen as a result of that. or if there are any. I'm not saying that there is.
Well, I think one of the only challenge is a challenge that always exists for us as a people, and that's patience. You know what I mean? We don't understand that a lot of these platforms out there, although they seem like overnight successes now, they literally took time to get to where they are, and they weren't perfect when they were created. You know what I mean?
Right.
You go back to Facebook, how horrible it was initially when it launched. I mean, it was so bad. It wasn't even one of the best at the time when it was out. You know, there were other networks and platforms and stuff that were out that were way better. You know, but they stuck around. Remember? So you think back to MySpace, right? Everybody's on MySpace, and Facebook is around, but nobody's on Facebook because why? It didn't have the features. It didn't look great. It was buggy. It didn't capture your attention and your eye, and it was like that at least for a number of years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yep. So when I built New, when I launched New earlier this year, it was like 2020. We had grown to we had hit we got almost 10,000 members, right? And pretty quick. But I knew that it wasn't going to, it had to go through a process, you know, and that process is when the right time comes, then that's when the people will show up in mass. So what do you do during that time? You got to build, you got to constantly invest in the product and grow it, etc., you know, and not give up and not quit. And I guess that's probably one feature of myself is that probably the biggest feature of myself is not because I'm the smartest cookie on the beach. You know what I mean? It's because I don't give up. You know, I'm relentless. You know, so you know, and most people know that, and they've come to me and they'd be like, "Yeah, that's one thing I know about you is you don't give up. And, you know, if I go away and I don't see you for 2 years, you still are gonna keep pushing on what you're working on, and that's you gotta have that you have to have that patience and that the ability to endure, because it's not all what people think it is. It's not all pretty. It's not all money out the gate. And it's funny because a lot of projects that do get the money out the gate, they don't even go anywhere. You know what I mean? Like literally, they get the money, and then they don't go anywhere, and the project just die. You just raise a lot of money, and now what? Where you at? You know what I mean? Where you at with that? But the projects that are probably the blood, sweat, and tear projects are the ones that could potentially make it if you just don't give up. You know, our roadmap with New, of course, is building out the immersive reality part of it, which is the part that I love. Like I love that. I'm in the Facebook beta program for Horizons, and I'm currently building worlds in there. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Facebook. However, I can learn from the technology. I can learn from what they're doing and potentially build upon what I'm doing based on what I'm learning while I'm building in Facebook's metaverse. So, I'm there, I'm doing that. And I want to be able to create a space for us where we could do the same, our own sandbox to unleash our creativity, because our creativity is a bit hindered and restricted. As much as we think we're free in this, I don't think that we've even reached 25% of our freeness. Because of the past traumas and circumstances that we experience here in the country.
Yeah. Can I pick off what it is that? Okay, so in essence of Guap and how just how fast this all can relate. The knowledge that, like she said, she's not a fan of Facebook, but she's smart enough to know that gaining the knowledge from them is something that she can turn around and bring back here. A lot of times, we as Black people, we do want to give our people deals in the business essence that we have, but buying products is more expensive for us when it's our opportunity. And with that being said, it's like buying products for us, they make it more expensive, for us to open up our doors and things like that. We already understand that. But every time that we choose to take our business model and conform it inside of Guap, you have to. I want you to visualize the fact that you're taking either it's your knowledge or your money, and you're not only you're putting it inside of that same decentralized banking space in multitude. So the knowledge that Tavania, she might offer a class that would be something that she would only offer in Guap, and it might be at a cheaper price, and it would offer that opportunity for you to know that you putting your money into that space offers you the opportunity to not only build and grow and save, if that makes any sense. I'm sorry. Oh, I was done. I'm sorry.
Indeed. Brother Slice, you with us?
Yeah, I've been in here taking notes, man. I do got a question for Aquarius. I've been picking up a lot of games from what you've been talking about. I wanted to ask you like about the features with the Guap Coin wallet. Go over a few of the features.
Well, it depends on what wallet you're referring to. Are you referring to the mobile wallet or the desktop wallet?
The mobile wallet.
Well, I mean, I guess you could say we have a standard mobile wallet. I remember what happens in the crypto world is when you launch a project, you want to take a project so far that other people expand the ecosystem, right? So we put out the basis of, what's needed right now. So we have an Android iOS wallet, which will allow you, of course, to just send and receive Guap Coin, et cetera, and keep track of your transactions or whatever. The reason why we did the Android and iOS wallet is because we're trying to create ease of access to folks into the ecosystem, because having a desktop wallet is a bit, I guess you could say, like a tad bit advanced. And desktop wallets are generally used. So if you want to get into staking or you want to build your own nodes, that's what you would have a desktop wallet for, because a desktop wallet is actually like a full node client, whereas the mobile wallets are not full node clients. Those are just wrappers that allow you to access the blockchain, and they're a bit centralized as well. Our main goal is to expand the community so other people create wallets. And not only other people create wallets, but we want to get into other wallet ecosystems as well. You know what I mean? So a lot of people come to us and say, are you in Trust Wallet? Are you in this wallet? Are you that wallet? Well, we won't be in those wallets until we build our community and we show that we have some liquidity moving around. And then we'll be able to be in those other wallets as well. So we have a basic Android iOS wallet that, just allows you to send and receive Guap Coin.
I love the fact that you got your own wallet, though. I think that's amazing. You feel what I'm saying? Because it kind of goes back to what we was already talking about owning our own and having our own. And I ain't gonna say it's I wouldn't say it's easy, but I say it's expected for people to go to these exchanges and say, is it in this exchange? Is it in that exchange? But it's kind of like if I was to come out with my own clothing line. It's like asking. Like, I'm in Atlanta, so they be like, okay, is it at Lenox Mall? Is it in? Nah, it's in my people's store right here. You can only get it from this store. I feel like it's more special when it's exclusive, to our own, and then we can grow and build integration from that point on. Because I feel like integration will be one of the next big steps too.
Well, we definitely have a synergetic thought, because that's exactly how I feel as well. I felt like at times we were bullied into getting into exchanges. Because that's the first thing people say, are you in exchange? And it's like, you don't exist if you're not in an exchange. And exactly what you're saying is that being in these exchanges are a barrier to us, number one. I mean, the average person is not going to be able to just say, well, I'm going to go on this exchange. Like we're talking about a 75-year-old grandmother, 85 or whatever. I'm going to go get my Guap Coin from an exchange.
Right.
This whole movement was built on a peer-to-peer movement. We're supposed to be able to get Guap Coin from our peers, or get these assets from our peers. You know what I mean? And be able to transact like that. But what you had in the world of crypto is the world of crypto is disrupted by Wall Street. and disrupted by the central bank. And Wall Street brought its principles to the world of crypto, and that's why you now have all of these exchanges, and you have crypto functioning as another asset or another investment instrument. You know what I mean? Rather than just being a potentially a currency that it is. So because of the advent and the entry in the space of Wall Street executives, a lot of people that left Wall Street, they came into crypto. So there, now you have it's 20, we're going into 2021 where Bitcoin is becoming an institutional asset, and largely some people say even a luxury coin, but I'd say more so an institutional asset. That's what Bitcoin is becoming. So and that kind of benefits us in a way because we're moving away from these institutions. You know what I mean? So what does that mean? That means that when we come into ourselves, and I mean we like Black and brown people, we come into ourselves and we move away from these institutions, they'll lose their power. You know what I mean? Right. And then once they lose they're losing their power, and we have the actual currency to support our social currency. Imagine how powerful we're going to be versus a Bitcoin and anything else out there. Like, I can't fathom, sometimes I meditate on it and I'm sitting here thinking where could we be 5 years from now? Right. And I get the biggest influx of energy I've ever felt in my life to where it's scary and I just totally shut it down. I'm like, I'm not going to think that big, and withdraw. But that's us in general. We're really such a humble people. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. Like, we don't want to think that big. We don't want to think that potentially, with the social currency that we have and the global community that we have, that, maybe one day, we're going to be beyond Bitcoin or whatever. You know what I mean? I believe in us that much. When people on the social media, like, they're bullish for Bitcoin, I'm like, I'm bullish for Black folks. You know what I mean? Correct. And it's not that, I'm saying that, I'm trying to, cause any racial dissension or anything like that. But I know how we have the ability to spread things. I know how we have the ability to take things to the cosmos and beyond, because we do it for everybody else.
Correct. I feel like, for everybody that's in the room listening right now, when she speaks on social currency, I want y'all to think about that, in comparison to, the influence that we have as a whole. And like what she said, with Black Twitter and, the power of Black Twitter versus just Twitter in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, Black Twitter is an actual thing, but you're not going to blacktwitter.com, or it's not nothing that you go log into, but you know that it exists. Right. So a lot of these intangible forces that we do have, we have a lot more power than we know. And if we could collateralize that into the cryptocurrency space and build, with sisters like Aquarius, with Guap Coin, and learn about the power of open source and the power of coming together. And like she said, she's not the owner, like, everybody can have a piece of this and everybody can be able to leverage this in some type of way. And being that it's peer-to-peer, you don't have to worry about the anxieties that come with, that with the money that we already have right now. You know what I'm saying? And not just the money, but just like the taxes, the system, just everything. So, I want y'all to really look at y'all influence as an intangible force that can be, that can be used for many things. You know what I'm saying? So your money is the evidence of, exchange value. And I'm gonna leave that right there.
This is what we're gonna do. I want to field some questions from the audience. If that's okay with you, Aquarius?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so for the family that's in the audience, salute to everybody. We are going to take some questions. I want them to be very short questions because we're not going to be here all night. We have to respect everybody's time. So I'll we'll do it in a relatively fashion. Slice, if you want to, you could hold it down. No, Brother Jay, if you want to, you could help us with that as well. And we'll have and if you have a question, Brother Jay, I'll let you pose the first one.
Yeah, I did have a question, and I mean, I heard you mention, yeah, of course, you guys are working on like the social media side of things. I actually just downloaded the app, and I was just looking at it, just like going through the functionality, just checking it out. So my thing was, I heard you guys speaking on like building onto it. Is there a potential for like like a dApps browser on the back end of it, or like is there a potential for like on the social media platform? Let's say like when it comes to like monetization, when somebody follows, like is there a micro transaction happening?
Yeah, we actually have begun building that. From day one, we begun building Guap into new. So we started out with building in just the ability to tip content creators in Guapcoin. But the next phase of that is, of course, having built-in wallets that control, not control, that enable content creators to, monetize their content, of course, and have the audience interact with their content using Guapcoin. So that's a big, big, big portion of it. It's a lot of development. We come in, we knock things out. Like I like to take new and knock things out in spurts, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? So when funds become available, we're like, okay, we want to do this. Then boom, 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 we add this feature, and then we add that feature. And we've been study adding features over. We're actually going to add a feature like this with voice live podcasting and voice chat. So that's what we're working on right now. We kind of moved that up a little bit because there's been a little, underground sentiment that, we need to have our own that too. So we're working on that as well. So we've just been divvying up what we can do. With limited funds, that's how you have to work. You know what I mean? You have to set goals that you can accomplish, like, little by little, and before you know it, something has grown, tremendously. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. I got you on that. And then I guess like the other thing I was wondering is, I'm really wondering, is this possible to create an app where you have a wallet, you have the wallet, and you have a social media platform, and you have like, let's say like on, how a lot of these apps, they have like dApps browsers. Like you say that developers are gonna be able to be on the the Guapcoin blockchain development. So if there's a dApps browser within the app that is a social media platform all in one with the wallet connected to it. Like, how is that even possible to create? Like,
yeah, I mean, anything is possible. We actually have an upcoming hackathon. And the purpose of that hackathon is to be able to explore the tech that's there now, and kind of give people in some direction in terms of different things that can be built and how it could be built, and bring together those ideas and help cultivate the ideas of the tech community that's involved with Guapcoin. So we're going to be doing those frequently. So he mentioned hackathon earlier, and I was laughing in my head because that's exactly what we have planned, upcoming. So we want to be able to help the community build their ideas out. Anything can be built, built out. What we have built is we built a few APIs, and the more you enrich your API, the more you help people and build out what they have going on. This is an API world. So that's what we've worked on the last couple of years, is building out our API again. So if somebody wants to come out with a wallet as a dApp browser, just like you said, boom, you got the basis of doing so, and we can help you do it. You know what I mean? And that's the beautiful thing about having a community, because we're supposed to be able to get together within the community and allocate the funds so that you can do it. So once we grow our community like we need to do, and we're able to funnel more liquidity into the platform, we'll eventually be able to take WAPcoin and fund, tech projects and et cetera. People come up with ideas, and they can tap into WAPcoin to get the money to make that idea a reality.
And right now, the transaction speed is probably pretty fast, I would assume.
Yeah, it's pretty fast. Block generation is 60 seconds. We are par for, because of proof of stake and Masternode. Masternode helps increase the transaction, decrease the transaction speed, so it's quick, it's fast. That's what Masternodes are for. Masternodes process transactions instantly. So literally, this is the type of platform that's made for businesses and merchants. We were a fork of Dash, so Dash was a platform that was made specifically for merchants, that small business kind of merchant environment, where you're going to go in the store and make a purchase. You can't be waiting for a settlement to take place. So that's what Masternodes do. They settle those transactions instantly.
Excellent, excellent. All right, I believe we have another question in the building from our brother Baki. Peace, King.
Peace to everybody. I appreciate y'all doing this. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all that do know, they've been doing a lot of work. I mean, just off the socials, and if you've been on YouTube, just tapping in with the websites. The question I had, appreciate that, Jay, because you touched on kind of something I was asking. I wanted to know, basically, like the platform he was talking about, but since I do clothing, having a website, like using WAPcoin, connecting it to it, and on a social platform like that. How would you feel about that?
I mean, it's awesome. Like I said, I'm all for expansion in any kind of way. I mean, currently right now, in terms of commerce, we're partnered with a platform called Coin Payments, which is the largest platform that deals with processing the transactions that are using crypto, right? So they have, various cryptos that they support, and they've been supporting WAPcoin for a year. So we already have that aspect of it. We want to tap into all the ecosystems that are out there, right? Because it'll help us make our jobs a little bit easier in terms of the things that we want to create, because there's already an API for this and an API for that we can pull all of that in, and it reduces our development time and the complexity of any project. So when we build our community, everybody wants to, when you have the numbers and you have people who are interested in WAPcoin, everybody's interested in integrating WAPcoin with their APIs. And it just reduces the complexity of whatever you're trying to build. And I think that's always the model we should take. We should take advantage of what's out there too, because I know with us, we tend to want to build things from scratch when it comes, you know what I mean? But we're living in an open source world. And in this open source world, you no longer have to build anything from scratch, practically anything. Like even this platform we're on right now, with whatever API or tech they're using, the libraries are available freely to access and for you to integrate into your platform.
Right.
So, so I'm me as a technologist, as a data scientist, and all of that. I'm here to help and advise people on all of those types of stuff, and that's kind of how I want to spend the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Just advising on different tech, and moving away from just the day to day of WAPcoin to helping get more tech out there. Because there was so many ideas I had from, I don't know how old I was. There's so many tech ideas that I felt like, there was a barrier to bringing those into fruition. Of course, the financial barrier was there. But, I can understand how frustrating it is, because if you got these great ideas that you want to bring out, but you need the community to support you. So, that's also why we're here and building this community.
Yeah, like we're building this right now. Like our people is all on there, and the same thing with Twitter, with everything, like we said. So that's why, like, just the way the mind works, it just popped in my head like so quick once I was like learning even more. Like the other night, on here with the other brothers that was here as well, and just already knowing something about the technology. Like I'm not a coder or anything, but playing games and just coming up in the 2000s and the 90s, like just from the 80s, all that, it made me think like right now, we like everybody on here, we just left and we had that platform already. With any store that you had built out, you know, already, kind of like how the children play Roblox and what's the Fortnite, all them like virtual reality just systems, all that's out there in the ether, and the way that we think, it was just like it's just I already know it can happen, and I see it happening already. But you know, just I'm gonna let somebody else speak, and man, I'm passionate about this right now. You know,
I totally understand.
Because I really can see it in like the people that I'm on here with right now. Like it's happening every day where people are already connecting here, and that talk is like in a lot of rooms. It's there, like if you're looking for it. So I'm just gonna say appreciate y'all, man, and it's gonna happen. Like the other people right now, they don't know what they're missing out on right now. Like this is something that's really about to happen. Like they don't even know how these thoughts really we make them happen.
It's happening.
And it's going to happen. Yeah, it's happening on the ground. But when our people really get to see that it's us really doing this, and they take heed of that, and if we was like everybody on there, if we all had a coin, we all could be already having that going right now.
Mm.
Yeah, and they don't understand that. Like thing with the sneakers, the music, we already can do it without the dollar. It's here. We just everybody needs to learn how to make a coin. You know, have schools for that. You know, the areas for it. I'm pretty sure people are learning that, but I mean, like specifically for us because we need it. Our people need it. It's nothing like against anybody else, but it's there.
Yeah, I wanted to add on, even with, as you mentioned, the virtual reality and stuff like that, we need to have more people participating in the like for instance, like I said, I'm a beta participant of Facebook Horizons, right? So I'm building worlds there, and I don't see any of us there. Like there's very few of us in that beta program. You know what I mean? And I can tell because we have conversations in the private forums and stuff like that, and you know, you can kind of tell who's there and who's what, you know, by what they're trying to build, and we're not there. And I think that maybe it's a fear because we see beta, we see tech, or we see, oh, I have to be a developer. But no, it's like this is actually a platform where it's more creative than anything, you know. And then we're also moving into a no code world. You ladies and gentlemen, we're moving into a no code world. So literally plug and play is where we're moving to. There are a bunch of no-code platforms out there now, and that's what Horizons is. It's a platform where you can build, but and you can script pre-scripted elements, literally just using logic. You know, like I want to move this there, and then scripted elements of that. And you don't need to know what I know or other coders know in order to do that. So
it sounds like Webflow.
Yeah. So just you know, don't be afraid. Step in the space, create, break stuff. You know what I mean? Like you got to be in it. And
that's why I'm here right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to crypto, and I know a lot of people say they want to create their own coin, right? You got to. I think the mission of the purpose of what you're doing it for has to be, there has to be a purpose. You know what I mean? So, you know, because a lot of people often come to me with that. And I'm like, it's not as easy as you think it is. It is easy to actually create the coin, but the coin is just a vehicle for the value behind it. You know what I mean? The coin is just a vehicle. It's what you're channeling into this world. You know, so you got to tap in, and you got to understand the process of tapping into value and unleashing value, because we tend to put our value on material resources and this and that and things, and it's so much more deeper than that. You know what I mean? It's about having core principles and this and things that I say out of all of this has made me somebody who's more committed to my core principles than anything. Because I realize that that's what gives me my value and my worth, is that the fact that I'm committed to something. You know what I mean? And I'm willing to take it the long haul, even if it means I got to walk by myself, even if it means I got holes in my shoes while I'm walking. I can't have the prettiest shoes until I get there. It's all about your inner value and your worth, And I realized that that's something that my mom, my dad, my family, that's something that they instilled in me. Like, and I didn't, you don't know it until you know it. And Guap Coin took me to the place where I know it. Like, I didn't know it, but now I know it. I'm like, damn, my Capricorn grandma, my Libra mom, my Sagittarius father. I'm an astrologer. But all of these people put so much tremendous value in me, or opened me up to a world to tremendous value, and you have to have that. Literally, earlier on, I'm sitting at the dinner table with people who raised millions and millions and millions of dollars, and I didn't raise but maybe a couple of hundred to 1,000, and I'm sitting there with them, and money isn't a thing to them at all. You know what I mean? And I have to feel confident and secure in a space where, I'm a single mom with 8 children, and I gotta feel confident and secure enough to be in the room with billionaires. Like, even this year, I was at the World Economic Forum. Billionaires everywhere. You know what I mean? And I have to be able to feel confident, secure enough to mingle, to converse, to understand that my worth and how I could potentially be, the next vehicle for, this money to come through, or whatever the case is. So it's really about your worth. It ain't about anything this technology does. It just gives you the vehicle to bring it through.
Right. They say faith in the works, right?
Yep, absolutely. And a tremendous amount of faith.
Right.
Indeed. Your faith will be tested left and right in this space.
So I'm going to take some more questions from the family in the audience. Raise your hand and I will bring you on the stage. And please make the questions under a minute. Okay. And if there aren't any questions, I would ask our hosts, co-hosts, if they have any questions.
I definitely need to connect with you, Slice, because you're in the Atlanta area, and you definitely seem to relate. Not just the passion, but just the ability to be able to be a positive impact. So I definitely want to connect with you as well. So don't let me lose connection. I tend to lose connection because I'm super busy, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to connect. So
Oh no, for sure. I definitely want to tap in with you, because I'm on the app right now, just checking out the features, and I love what you got going on already. And I feel like being that people don't really have a full understanding of the crypto space and how the wallets work, and how easy it actually is to transfer from Bitcoin to Guap Coin and back and forth. Like, I feel like once we set the example and show people how easy it actually is to use this on a daily basis, I think I feel like everything will grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do envision a world where we have all types of tokens and stuff representing different interests and stuff like that. It's going to be a token economy like that. You know what I mean? So I do envision a world like that. and hopefully we can make GuapCoin a platform that's the launch pad for those types of things.
Okay, we have hands raised. I'm gonna go ahead and bring Brother Gleesus on stage real quick. You want to say something, Slice? My bad.
No, I'm here. I'm just listening.
Okay. All right. Yes. Let's see if the brother comes on stage. Peace, Brother Gleesus. Can you hear us? Can you speak? All right. We'll go to another hand raise. Jihad. All right, Brother Jihad.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Greetings.
Greetings. Shout out to Red and shout out to GuapCoin, Aquarius Maximus. I've been in the room with you before a few days ago. We hosted a room with nurse practitioner Veronica, so I appreciate you tapping in. I think that concept was on real estate, but I've been sitting here taking notes. I downloaded the GuapCoin app, and I am on what is this called? Probit right now. So I'm creating an account on there, and I'm definitely getting ready to tap in and have that sitting on the side. So I'm definitely looking forward to continuing to grow with that. However, my question was in relation to what Slice was talking about. And Red, I'm always tapping in with you on Instagram, and I hear you talk a lot about how we move from the attention economy to the passion economy. And I heard Slice talk about, I think he called it like social network. So I just wanted to hear you, or what's your thoughts on connecting the dots between the whole social network piece and the passion economy?
Is that question for me?
That was for Red. I just wanted to tell you that I appreciate you and that I'm tapping in with the GuapCoin.
Yes. Well, what I speak on is the shift in economies that we're witnessing right now, and I mostly touch on the post-COVID economy, going into the passion economy, out of the attention economy and the gig economy, and just a highlight of what the passion economy entails, and that's niche communities. Moving away from the social media business model, being that the social media business model is somewhat of a I'm not gonna say that it's necessarily dead, but the niche model is what we're on right now with Clubhouse. They've taken that business model and incorporated it. The fact that you are, this is a private, members only, invite only app. It's almost like public versus private. That I got a lot of people beating me up about invites, feeling a kind of way like I'm like I have 100 invites and I'm holding them from them. I'm like, yo, they grant me they piecemeal me invites every other week. The fact that you get on this app and there are rooms that you have the option to go into, that's niche. That's the niche communities. You don't see that on Instagram. Facebook groups is a form of that. You don't really see that on Twitter too much. Everybody's thoughts and everybody's comments and everybody's conversation is open. It's out in the open. You have to actually enter into a room to find out what's being said. You have to go into a room, like open up a door and walk in to find out what's being said. That's all niche. That's all community based. Also the business model that's being touted as a post-COVID business model, of course, is a subscription-based model. And if you look around, you see that being utilized by a lot of people who are winning in these spaces. Teachable.com, Thinkific, Patreon, even OnlyFans, those are considered to be passion. Those are people who are monetizing their passions. They're not commodities. They're not, you're not, it's not about, like, let's say, for instance, in a gig economy, you're an Uber driver, you're taking You have a car and you're dropping someone off. You're expendable. You're a commodity. There's a whole bunch of cars out there. There's nothing special about your car or you as a driver. But in a passion economy, if somebody's coming to me as an expert and and they're taking a course for $500 or $5,000, it's because of my expertise and it's because of something that I know specifically that it's not expendable and I'm not a commodity. I have social, especially if I have social value that I've added to my name and whatnot based off of, you know, um, just what I've been doing in different spaces. I can demand a certain type of pay, a certain type of value. So that's what we're seeing right now. That's the shift that's taking place. And I highly encourage, the brothers and sisters that are out there, especially going through the second lockdown, to definitely dive into the passion economy. I'm going to be doing some courses as well on the top of 2021, where I'm going to have a curriculum just to walk people through it, so we could all be empowered.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that this is a great time where we're moving back to expert and moving away from the celebrity of it all.
Right.
Because for a long time, the celebrities were the experts, regardless whether they knew anything or not, they're considered to be the experts, right?
Right.
Thing. And it's just all an illusion. So now we're moving to spaces where people truly, have some level of expertise and can teach, and we're definitely making a huge shift.
And I would say that the app Clubhouse is facilitating that shift because the celebrities are in the audience now, and the experts are on the stage.
Right.
I've been in
levels.
Huh?
Yeah.
It's levels.
Levels.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a room where Meek was getting instructions from the whole stage, and that's what's taking place. The experts are taking their value back.
Yeah, there's been some rooms on here where there's been celebrities who have less engagement or interactions than I do. I've only been on here for about 2 weeks, moderating a lot of networking rooms. I did hear a town hall meeting from the people who are basically taking the app in the next direction. They are planning to monetize it with a website called With Koji. So if anybody here is looking to monetize their Clubhouse, there's a website that you have to go and sign up for that allows you to monetize your Clubhouse interactions and activity. And the website is called With Koji, WITHKOJI.com. So y'all go and check that out.
Yeah, I actually went and got KTLClubhouse.com. So when I get my Clubhouse approved, I'm gonna take all of my content because I record everything. I actually went to a Gumroad page and I bought Clubhouse Notes. So they're doing that. They're selling Clubhouse Notes on a Gumroad, and it was filled with information, chock full of information of multiple rooms that people were taking shorthand notes and basically bullet points, and then they monetized it. So yeah.
It's a great idea right there. I didn't think about that.
Yep.
You said With Koji. How do you spell Koji again?
KOJI.
Yeah, I'm on there now. Dope.
Yeah, I mean, it's imperative if you have a brand, because even outside of Guap-Point, which Guap-Point I don't consider my brand, but I am AQUARIOUSMAXIMUS, which I consider my brand. And that content and stuff that I have, I can't disrupt what I built as a business for myself on the astrology side, etc. You know what I mean? That's how I make my money. So, I want to come and talk, but I have a whole school that I teach cardiology and astrology. You know what I mean? So I can't really come here and just kind of, be giving it all away. And I have people who subscribe and pay for that. It's not fair for them. So you do, as a brand and as a subject matter expert, you have to, you gotta, this is fun and all, I guess you could say. But if you have your core things down pat that you've already established, it's good to continue with that and just make this some level of extension. And it helps when they monetize it. But then it becomes just another aspect of your business, and you're not taken away from your business, so to speak. A lot of people know me in astrology and cardiology. They know that, yes, I love teaching knowledge and stuff like that, but I'm also about my money, and I guess that's obvious because I'm in the business of money. So, I had to go through the journey of learning to not give everything away, because again, that leads to value issues and devaluing yourself and et cetera. So, you have to have those tools to help monetize.
So go ahead, bro. Bro, go ahead and lock.
Jay,
What's going on, brother?
what up, bro? Quick question. I wanted to see if you could go into I know last time we was talking about that Tron blockchain.
Grandson, D-Roy, T-Roy. They can't forget. Fuck your talk.
You want, like, is there something specific that you want to?
I think the main thing I wanted to go over was like, what was the difference between, I guess, what's the main difference between Tron and Ethereum blockchains, I guess, as a whole? And then what are like some of the other blockchains that's out there that competes with it?
So, okay. With Ethereum and Tron is basically like, as far as what you can do from a development standpoint.
Yeah, because that was the main reason why I was asking. Yeah. I know development-wise, it sounded like Tron was a little bit more up to speed.
Oh, so it's basically a similar, a blockchain. The only difference between the two is that Ethereum, obviously, is a much more, I guess you could say, is much more trusted platform by people who are in the crypto world. You know what I'm saying? Like Tron is like
first gift.
Tron is basically like how like Donald Trump was to cryptocurrency, to like people that's in that crypto world. You know what I mean? Because like they feel that the owner or I won't even say owner, but the creator of this currency or coin, like basically like just took what Ethereum did and just put it on, and created Tron. And then basically what they did is, Ethereum, you can develop the same type of you can code basically the same way you can on the Tron blockchain, the same way as you can on Ethereum. And so basically the difference between the two is that Ethereum can handle, I believe it's like it's probably a little bit faster now, but I think it's like 65 transactions like per second or something.
Next, the close encounter between a private plane and a
30. Is it 30? Is it 30? Yeah, it's one of the two. It's a low number compared to Tron. And like Tron right now is like this instant. So like, you know how when you send somebody like money on Cash App, like it goes directly to their Cash App, like it's the same thing like on Tron blockchain right now. So like you can send somebody, like let's say you had $1 million worth of Tron right now, you can literally send $1 million worth of Tron to somebody peer to peer if you know them across the world, anywhere in the world, and it's instant, like literally 1 second, 2 second transaction. Because Tron blockchain, it processes 2,000 transactions per second. If that makes sense.
Right. So does that mean they have because I know earlier we were talking about staking and mining. So
I wonder if they use like a different model of mining, or if they completely have an autonomous version of mining. They doing that much transactions at one time.
What I do know about it is that they, like, Tron is backed by bandwidth. So there, every coin that you create has to, like she was saying earlier, you have to have a purpose behind the coin. That's actually, like, you actually do have to have a purpose behind it. So their purpose is to completely decentralize the entire internet. So I don't think Tron was actually created to be a coin that does like what Bitcoin is doing or like what Ethereum's doing. I think Tron is actually it was actually just created for transactions, for the transaction purpose to like create those fast transactions. I actually think that and this is, I don't know, like, this is just theory now because just based off what I'm saying, but I honestly feel that that it was created solely for like somebody to come in and develop some sort of like merchant like payment processor for on the blockchain.
Yeah, it's like a DApp-based platform.
Exactly.
Its focus is on development on top of the architecture for decentralized applications. It's supposed to be its focus, not whereas Ethereum, you have smart contracts, which are like a whole different ball game than just the decentralized app. You have the app, which is you have smart contracts, which is just a set of instructions behind that can function in any kind of way and not be wrapped in an app. And then you have decentralized applications that are wrappers for functions. You know what I mean? So it's like a little bit different in terms of that. That aspect. So it's meant to be a fueling an ecosystem of apps, so to speak. Not so much an ecosystem of token economies and stuff like that. More so application economies.
What the hell is even that?
Because I know, the coin is pretty stable. Since I've been dealing with like Tron, has been like I'm not trading it or mining it or anything like that, or not even staking it. But I just been like, kind of dabbling with dApps a little bit with Tron. And what I've seen though is that it stayed anywhere between like 2 and 3 cent a share, and the highest it's been is like 31 cent a share at one point, and I think that was like maybe like 2 years ago or something like that.
You mean coins? I oftentimes have to tell people don't use the word share because it's not a share. But and newbies, they get confused because they're always confusing, stock terms with crypto. They think crypto is stock rather than it being an asset or currency and stuff like that. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah, newbies will mess that up a lot. So I have to tell. We don't want them to think that it's shared. It's not necessarily.
Right. Got you. Yeah. That's just me talking. I got you. Yeah, that makes sense.
That was one of my questions I was going to ask myself. What was the question? About the stocks and shares and
Yeah, because whenever that's what security tokens, that kind of opens up that area of not really stocks, but investment vehicles, and that's where you get into the whole that whole space, and we like to keep it separate because the more people think that it's an investment vehicle, then the worse it is for the project. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I wanted to actually talk about that because it's a really nice segue into like ecosystems, because we are developing an ecosystem. We're not just developing a investment space by being a part of Guapoin. You could have a share in a company, have no kind of purpose inside of that company whatsoever. That company has no kind of care about, whether you are in the good or the green, or if you're able to use those shares at all. when you're talking about cryptocurrency, you have a purpose, you have a reason for holding on to that coin. So when you're trying to describe Tron, you're holding on to one Tron. When you're holding on to Guap coin, you're holding on to one Guap coin or 10,000 Guap coin or 5,000 Guap coin. You're not holding on to even one Guap coin per Bitcoin. No, you're holding on to one Guap coin. So inside of that ecosystem, and you'll realize that this coin has that purpose. So it has an ecosystem that's developed for us. So that's how you can always differentiate the two between shares, cryptocurrencies purposes, and how do you identify cryptocurrency by its name. I mean, one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. It's not one Ethereum. One Ethereum is one Ethereum. And you go from there, and then you see what's the purpose of that coin from there, and what can you do with that coin once you hold on to it.
Right, because it's at the end of the day, it's an asset. A lot of people look at it like a dollar amount, but nah, it's an asset that can be that can always be transferred into liquidity if needed. But I feel like the asset is always more important, being that we battling against inflation, prices going up, and more money being printed this year pretty much than ever in history. So with us fighting all of those things, it's like it's better to have, it's better not to say to have, it's better to exchange our energy and money into these different asset classes.
Indeed.
Indeed. For the family that's out there in the audience, hold on, let me see. Let's see if the bro Gleezus wants to ask a question. Josh, do you have a question?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for having me up.
Yes, sir.
I'm enjoying the talk. I have a question for Guapcoin. Because basically I'm interested in, I just started learning about the Ethereum network and building apps on there and building currencies on there. So I really just want to hear Guapcoin talk about the coin you created, and did you create it on Ethereum, and did you learn the coding language to do that? And if you could just tell us anything about that process.
And originally we launched on Ethereum because that's what everybody else was doing, as a quick segue into the space to raise funds so that you could build out your project. We eventually built out our own blockchain because that's the idea. The big, huge part of decentralization is you would move away from that ecosystem to go ahead and build out your project. You know what I mean? And that was during the ICO phase, the early ICO days. But in terms of where we're building now, yes, we've had a stable blockchain since early 2019. The next phase of what we're building is building out an ecosystem-based, chain, and focus more on the development and being able to build decentralized applications, like ones that facilitate decentralized finance, etc. So we're looking at different platforms. One of the things that happens is sometimes you wind up migrating to other platforms that help facilitate that. And there are a lot of good projects out there like Cardano, Cosmos. I kind of particularly like Cardano and Cosmos because they're moving towards this whole internet of blockchains kind of philosophy, in which I think that we're moving towards anyway. And it helps to facilitate building additional applications on top of your application. We looked at Hyperledger at one point for adding smart contract capabilities. A lot of the platforms that are out there, Ethereum is like a true smart contract platform, whereas there are a lot of applications that are like a pseudo smart contract platforms where they're using JavaScripting and scripting to create something that simulates the smart contract process, which is not really built into the blockchain itself. And then you have other blockchains out there who are building side chains or allowing you to build side chains. So instead of taking a smart contract approach to creating a token, which when you create a token on Ethereum, you're creating you're literally launching every When you create that token, you set the value. I mean, you set the initial supply and everything, and it's not a organic method of growing the supply. But when you have a blockchain that has side chains, then those side chains can do what the main chain could do, which is grow a supply organically and grow a community organically. So there's lots of different ways to go about it, but everybody's pushing to maintain the most decentralized way as possible. That number one is community based, and number two will help them to circumvent any legal issues like we see, i.e., XRP, and in the past was it Kin and Telegram even had a token. And the problem with those were that they were on Ethereum and that they did have a set supply, and and there's an anticipation of some sort of profit, etc., profitability in the community, and it makes it kind of go in the murky waters of being a security. So, there's a lot of different options out there and approaches to take, and that's where we're looking at for 2021. Exactly which approach we're going to take in order to build more on top of what we have.
Cool. That's a great answer. Thank you. And one other question: how big is the team of people needed to create a blockchain?
Well, I mean, it could start with one. It depends on what you know. You know what I mean? Like in this case, it started with me, and then it grew. But if you can get together a team of people, a team of developers, or whatever, then you can go ahead and start right away. But it grows to having to have other people involved. Because of our aim of being a currency, we needed some real good financial advisement, just economists. You know what I mean? Like, I literally in 2018 had to become an economist. I had to work out things like inflation, and I spent probably a month off the computer just working with notepads and working out inflation. Like, I wound up having sheets and sheets and sheets of paper just calculate future projections and future inflation and all of that. And took me down a whole different wormhole because we're dealing with money.
Thank you.
All right.
That's amazing right there. And that's why I feel like it's important to, for those who already have done their due diligence, that's already in this space, it's very important to understand, like, this work, the foundation that she done put in already it's a lot by itself, you know what I mean? And that's one of the reasons why I support it, just because I know, as a developer and as a tech consultant, I just know that you gotta almost wear about 15 to 20 hats, just doing this. Even if you got a small team, everybody's pretty much wearing multiple hats to get to the task at hand.
Absolutely. I tell people, I think my journey has prepared me to wear all of the hats I needed for GuapCoin. I mean, I've been in tech for a very long time, but I've also been a marketer. I've done marketing for Fortune 500 companies. I've done marketing for Coca-Cola, IMAX. I spent a few years just doing marketing alone, coming up with marketing campaigns and digital marketing campaigns for IMAX. So all of these different skills that I had, I've had to put to use with GuapCoin. So it's
you said you do you said you're in the field of data science as well, right?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's my passion now. Like, my passion now is merging astrology and cardology with data science. But that's a whole other conversation. But that's my passion, because I realize that we live in a data-driven world, even outside of what we know to be, what we know to be data. We're tapping into a whole new consciousness with data. you know, and we don't have enough people of color involved in that process, and we need more Black data scientists. We need more Black folks in data, because the people who are in data, they're shaping this new world. They're creating a new world. AI, the very basis of AI is data. So these are the people who are creating the new worlds, and if they're creating these new worlds that we're going to get caught up in, we need to be a part of the creative process.
Right, because even in the phone plans, like we're being charged for data, and that wasn't always. I mean, if we was
data
charged for before,
data is the new water.
Yeah, I seen the I can't even say it was a meme. I think it was an actual post saying something about them selling bottled air over there in the UK. Y'all seen that?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, they selling air.
I think it's an actual thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're literally going to be trading our own data in the future. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to be owning our data and trading our data, selling our data, all of that. The data is like super duper duper important, you know, and we need people who gain an understanding of it and can help build applications and stuff like that. I mean, I would love to build a website that just focuses on the data of Black people. You know what I mean? Because we don't have trusted data. They can come back with some numbers that says da 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 da, but who's there to check that? Who's there to say that, you know, to validate that data is correct, you know, and not skewed and not taken from this sample and not inclusive of a wider spectrum of sample, because we all know that they don't include a wide spectrum of people as even people of color. You know what I mean? Like literally. So if you don't include, if you haven't come to a basis on what you consider to be Black, then how are you measuring your data? How are you coming, you know, with this data to encompass that? So we need more people in data from our community so that we can become the authorities and the governors of our own data, and, you know, in that process.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's working against us right now with this whole COVID-19 situation, because, you know, they could tell us this and that, and, you know, they can beat these numbers into our head, but they're not considering the fact that, you know,
to be honest, you look like a bitch though. No cap.
All right, hold on. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I feel like this was working against us because, like I said, the numbers that they feed to us, you know, they're either not accounting for certain things, or they're only accounting for certain things. So even when they break these numbers down to us, they're not telling us that, okay, yeah, we only count.
Man, what the hell you got wrapped around your head, man?
All right, so
my bad.
Yeah. Shout out to the trolls in the building. You know what I'm saying? Trolls in the world go around.
That's the first time I ever experienced some trolls on here, bro. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Hey, bro,
I ain't never experienced that.
Bro. Don't get distracted.
Yeah, I ain't never experienced that on this app yet. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like, you gotta think. See, those people like that, that goes back to what we were talking about with attention currency. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody who's willing to sit in here and get out of this game, and then, you know, the chance they finally get to speak, you know, they got stuff like that to say. They say a lot to where we at right now.
Well, I'll tell you this. The reason that we now have these niche spaces and we have a clubhouse that is invitation only is because there's a lot of legislation that's going to change the landscape of social media in general, and it's all wrapped around identity and being able to, you know, what type of digital presence that you're owning that's connected to your offline identity. And that's that thing that Trumpers recently actually has basically is trying to push the removal of, was it section 230 or 330, one of the numbers, I don't know. But at any rate, this is the section, the legislation that requires or doesn't require a site owner or platform owner to be responsible for the people who are on the platform. So he's currently pushing to change that, and that's driven largely because of his petty fight with Twitter. So he's like, you gonna screw me, I'm gonna screw you. But basically, with those changes, it's gonna eliminate and reduce troll. I mean, a lot of people, they want to remain anonymous, of course, online, but if they change, when they change that, you're really not anonymous, number one. But when they change that, you're going to really know that you're not anonymous. Because if you come into certain spaces and you do certain things, you could be held accountable for it, because the website owner is going to be held accountable for it. If I'm going to be held accountable for what you do, then I'm going to hold you accountable for what you do.
Right.
So that's kind of like a what's the word I'm looking for? That sounds like a not a credit score, but like a social credit score.
Yes. And you won't be allowed in certain spaces if your social credit score is poor.
Oh yeah, they doing that in China already.
Yeah.
I've heard something like that being I heard from somebody that was working at a bank, and this was like, I say about 3 years ago. I heard her saying something like that, being similar to the banking system. Them going off of your spending habits to create a score for you within the same, similar space.
Right, and I could go off the data, that's disassociated with you to build a credit score. The quality of data that you post. I could pull back algorithms if there's voting or whatever. If you've been posting data or posting a content that has a whole lot of dislikes or push downs or whatever the case may be, then it may put you in a space to whereas you have a low credibility on different platforms, and you won't even be allowed to speak. So there's so many different things like that. So I guess people better take advantage of it now, all the trolling they want, because in a minute they won't be able to do that. And that was highlighted during this whole, even when you look at like on Facebook and Instagram, and you had quote unquote racist people, right? And then what happened? Black Twitter went and found where they worked, who they were, and they got fired, right? Now that's a precedent for this type of stuff being associating your personalities together, your online, offline personalities, and that's the future. It's going to be that way. So at least for a bit, it's definitely going to be that way. You may have to find yourself locked in a space where you fit in socially, mentally, or whatever, because you can't go to other spaces because of your rating.
Interesting.
Once I started posting about like vaccines and shit, pretty much across all my social media, it kind of like, it made it to where people couldn't even really see my posts like that no more.
Yeah, you got shadow banned.
It's like tech apartheid, right? Like tech, yeah.
And I don't know if a lot of people know, like you know how people will write certain stuff online, and they know that those words are being picked up by keywords and stuff. But what a lot of people don't realize is like let's say you try to be slick and put something on your story, or you know what I'm saying, or screenshot it instead of writing it. Like these artificial intelligence programs that's already built into the algorithm, it can still read letters. You know what I'm saying? So that's why anytime you say something about the election or a vaccine or any of that shit, you get the little fact check bullshit and the little shit to pop up. Okay, here's the information, the real information on vaccines and all that. All of that is just them reading those letters and combinations of symbols and stuff.
Right. Yeah. There's a facial picture recognition algorithm. That's all data points. So when you're doing an algorithm that's doing an image recognition, is pulling back as many data points as possible, and then assembling those data points. Because the programs read data, they don't read the pictures, but I can assemble all different types. I can choose what type of algorithm I want to create to assemble all different types of data points. Like for my picture, it has red, it has this, it has all of these different data points to pull back to create keywords that will speak to what the picture is.
Indeed, that's interesting. So look, we're gonna do the wind down. We're gonna do a wind down. So if there is anything that you want to leave the family with, and some action items, because we do have a lot of brothers and sisters here that want to support. They want to, as you can see, they're very proactive, downloading the app and things of that nature. So if there's anything that you want to leave us with, I would definitely encourage you to do such. And I'm going to have Slice close out.
Definitely. Yes. Install the app. That's first and foremost. Android and iOS Guapcoin wallet. Because the idea is once you get a wallet, you want to fill it with something, right?
Right.
So so install the wallet, join the community. If you go to guapcoin.org and you go to the bottom of the page, you can see all of the different communities now. Telegram, etc. Because this is a numbers game. You know what I mean? It's more so the numbers are what creates the value and the money and all of that other stuff. So we have to get our numbers up and our community up. And then also, if you have any questions, I try to answer as many questions as possible. I scour my inbox just for questions. So you can reach out to me, Guapcoin. You can reach out to me through Crypto Diva, or you can reach out to me through AQUARIOUSMAXIMUS, which a lot of people know me through there as well. I don't know how much I'm going to be accessible in the future, but I try to be as accessible as I possibly can. And I've created accessibility tools. We have a support forum, support.guapcoin.org. So if you have questions about surrounding any of the tech, the wallets, or anything,
yes,
you can go there. And again, in the Telegram is really, really, really important. And spread the word, even more so important. Just speaking Guapcoin has been very powerful. We've had people popping up here on Clubhouse like, yeah, I heard somebody say something about Guapcoin. And the power of our word is, our word is extremely powerful. And so even speaking it, when you go into, anytime somebody's talking about crypto, don't be afraid to bring up Guapcoin. We built a legitimate platform, you know what I mean? So there's nothing anybody can say to contest the legitimacy or whether or not we should be involved in those spaces. And even amongst ourselves, don't be afraid to question people who have crypto things and crypto events and ask them, why ain't Guapcoin here? You know what I mean? Or speak on Guapcoin. So, speak up for us. That's extremely, extremely helpful. And I want to thank Red Pill for having me on here. And thank you for being so gracious and listening and participating.
I want to thank you for adding so much value by, just engaging the audience, engaging our co-hosts, engaging, just everybody, and enlightening us with all of this information. Like I'm taking notes and I'm recording it at the same time, but I'm very excited. I really want to I want to have another conversation. I want to come back and revisit this conversation.
Yeah, we can have a daytime conversation.
Right.
Yeah, daytime conversation would be wonderful.
And I'm sure that word of mouth travels very fast. Like you said, we add value to each other. So people are going to go and tell their techie friends, their blurred friends. And because I'm really, it's a passion of mine to bring us together and to create, because I know where we are right now in this time, and timing is of the essence. So we're going to make it happen. But Brother Slice, what do you have to say?
First of all, man, I want to thank everybody that's in the room. Queer, I want to tell you I appreciate your value that you bring, and I actually learned a whole lot today. lot of notes written down, and I got a lot of research to do. I just want to say thank you for the value that you done brought. And I also say I didn't know that you had your own blockchain too, so I think that's extremely dope within itself. You know what I'm saying? So once again, shout out to everybody in the room. I do have a book. Y'all can go to my page and check it out. It's called SYP Solving Your Problems. Client Guide for Entrepreneurs, and basically just breaks down client management and mindset as far as just keeping up with everything. So Red, brother, you already know what it is, man. Thank you, bro. Nothing but gratitude.
No doubt.
Jay, oh yeah, and my bro Jay Crypto too, bro Jay Crypto in here, man. Y'all follow him as well.
Jay, you want to leave us with some words?
Hey, I just want to say, hey, Slice, man, thanks for hitting me up to have me on this stage again, and thank you to everybody that hopped on here and spoke. Red, it's a pleasure. Guap, thank you for the information that you share. I definitely learned a lot. It's always, since the last one, it's been a pleasure just listening to y'all and learning from y'all. So I'm just excited to be connecting with like-minded individuals who are focused on moving the culture forward and moving our people forward in a positive manner. So I'm just glad to be here, and I look forward to building with y'all in the future.
Indeed. Brother Get Low, do you have any words that you want to leave us with, King?
I would first of all thank you for having me on. Thank you, Savannah. You're way past this. I don't think y'all understand how much value she's really added to my life as a person, and in so many different ways. This has no limits. This has no bounds. This doesn't care about what law you might have broken in the past. This is just an open gateway for us to support each other wholeheartedly. I wish everybody peace and blessings, and enjoy all the time that you can with your families and things of that nature. But when it really gets down to it, we are so much more powerful than I think our minds can fathom sometimes. Like she said, she tries not to think that far, but it's really that big when you think about it. And she's opened my eyes to it, and I'm here to answer questions when her load is heavy or just whatever it is. And thank you all. Appreciate it. And I wish everybody the best. Thank you.
Yes. And my guy, Baki, you wanna close it out for us, King?
I just wanted to say, just appreciate everybody with this build. Also, AQUARIOUSMAXIMUS, with the cardology I'm learning, just by going on the site, learning that does help. That's a big part of things. Just all this, even this technology, just all of it together. Red Pill with the passion economy, like those are two things. The stream chasers, like y'all should really get involved. Other than that, just continue to build. I'm loving this clubhouse. I like really. I don't know. It's just so much, like you're saying, with the brain. Like I'm just so many thoughts be happening. I get so passionate with it because the ideas come so fast, and I know they really can happen at the time that we're in right now, and just like meeting the people that I'm meeting on here. So just other than that, just gonna keep it moving.
Right. Dope, man. Dope. I would like to say that on this Christmas Day, I feel like we've unwrapped some presents. For those who have taken notes, I highly encourage you to go down the rabbit hole, follow our good sister AQUARIOUSMAXIMUS, and like she said, she has other superpowers: the cardology, the readings, just the like she was saying that she wants to basically be help to consult. We know that our time is money, so definitely approach the sister with respect and tap in, because we are showing and we are proving that we don't have to look outside of our talent pool. We are who we were waiting for, and apps like this and other apps that will be created and already have been created will highlight that. It will showcase that. We're going to get rid of the noise focus more so on the value. So I appreciate every single person in this building tonight. We will be back with more information, more value, more topics dealing with black tech and whatnot. We're going to make it happen. All right?
For sure.
No doubt.
Thank you.
Indeed. Love and light. All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.